coming off a victory, going into a bye week, our second bye week of the year. Had a tough ball game this past weekend against South Alabama. They did a tremendous job of being ready to go and giving us a heck of a game in double overtime. And, when you start looking at the stat line, we dominated in a lot of areas, but just didn't dominate on the scoreboard. And, so we're still working through that, try to figure out how we can put more points on the board. And we got to get better at not giving up the big plays on defense. And so good time to get a bye week and then start preparing for Coastal next week.
All right, thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Whitney Hayworth. Whitney, please go ahead.
Coach, good morning. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, we'll preview Coastal Carolina come the actual week of that game. So looking back more on South Alabama, like you kind of mentioned, it wasn't pretty, but when your team needed to do it, they got down to it. They were, blue-collar and more disciplined to get the job done than maybe they have been in some other games this season. So what impressed you about them in that aspect?
Well, the thing that did impress me, we went into the game and I challenged the kids not to worry about the scoreboard, and I challenged them to let the score take care of itself and let's go do what we do, and that's be blue-collar, disciplined, and tough, and also take care of our plan to win. And, our plan to win, the first thing is to win the turnover takeaway battle. We did that. We were able to go +1 with that fumble recovery in overtime, and then we want to dominate the run game. We were able to do that with 310 yards to 53 yards, and then win the field position battle with special teams and all that. And when you start looking at that, we had some short fields. Our defense was able to go out there and play South Alabama and make them go a long ways, where we had the opportunities to have a short distance to go. We challenged them about pre- and post-snap penalties, and our guys did a tremendous job of only having 2 pre-snap penalties. And then we've always asked them to win the fourth quarter, and we actually won the fourth and won overtime. And it was not pretty on the score, but when you start looking at the plan to win, it definitely worked out and got us the victory. So I'm happy that our guys were able to do that. They've had – to me, the last 2 games, they've shown more discipline. We've done a good job with the turnover takeaway battle. We've done a good job of not beating ourselves. And then this past game, being able to finish. But, again, when we get those short fields, we got to put more points on the board. And defensively, we got to make sure we stay on top and not give up those deep touchdown balls and deep balls that led to field goals. But our guys are working. They're getting better, and we're looking forward to trying to continue to get better.
Talking about the turnover battle, obviously Raymond Johnson came up big in both overtimes. What impressed you and what did you see from him, and how special is that to see a player have 2 big plays like he did basically back-to-back?
Well, before I talk about Raymond, I'll go to the offense, too, having to put that last drive together. To put the thing in overtime, that was pretty impressive for our kids to go out there and do that. That was good. And then, to see our defense do what they did in overtime to allow us to win the football game. Raymond did get the block on the field goal, but if you watch that whole play, man, there's 11 kids out there playing hard, and any one of them could have got that block. But Raymond got it, and he's a good football player, and he made it happen for us. And then, Randy Wade needs to get credit for coming off the edge and making that fumble happen because he did a tremendous job of getting around that tackle and getting to the quarterback. And then Raymond did a great job of going and getting on the ball and giving us a chance to go kick a field goal in the next series to win the game.